Hey guys, this is Dark Prince. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And for the second part of today's stock analysis, I'm going to cover four stocks in this part. The first one is SQL, Sequel, which is a gene sequencing company. And then I've been talking about this stock, and I've also had a small swing at it in the 330 360 zone. It eventually hit 510, and then there was a couple of plays that also took it to 440 zone. If you see a lot of spikes in this, and eventually succumbing to market pressure, there was some huge sell off, and then it gave all the way down to 240 in just matter of days, and then it kind of formed a support there and then bounced eventually to 290 zone, but couldn't break that $3 for some reason, and then back down at 240, lost that, went to 227 again due to market pressure. So now question is, is it still in the downtrend line, and is it going to hold this spot here, the 220 240 zone, and then eventually climb its way up? Now if I just look at the channel alone, the channel's pivot, the midpoint is somewhere around 290-ish, and that is the previous resistance as well. So if it breaks that, then we are looking at 360 zone, which is almost a reclaim of the previous support which was lost. So that's going to be a resistance now. So the 330 360 zone, and over that is where it's going to be a big breakout. But at this point, let's keep it simple. It is trading in the lower half of the channel, and it needs to break the pivot, and the EMA 70 to 89 is at 2.73 and 2.81, so keep an eye on that number as well. And the EMA 200 is well over $3. So eventually when it reclaims and a strong bullish move happens, it's going to break out all that numbers, and we need to keep that numbers handy. The Bollinger Band is still wide enough. It is, as you can see here, the lower channel is actually plummeted below the $2, but look at the pivot at 3.14 and 4.13. Like I said, with this wide BBs, usually there will be huge volatility on either side, and so the price ranges also can be extremely volatile. So keep an eye on this company and keep an eye on this stock. It's a niche technology, and it also has a COVID angle, and it had some momentum last week when the COVID scare happened. You see those three green candles, and eventually, like I said, market succumbed. And so we need to see how this holds this line, holds this channel, and then see if we can break out over the 292. Let's keep it at $3. Let's have a clean breakout over $3, and then we can talk about testing the 360 and the $4 plus zone. News was a long time ago, so I'm not sure when the next one's gonna come. A lot of DD and market research have been posted on Stockwoods and Twitter for this. Has a huge market potential as well, and it's a 7.5 to low floater. And if I look at the chart of Zivo, this really correlates to exactly the same pattern that Zivo had, where Zivo was on a constant downtrend channel and off came the big moves. So quick comparison with Zivo here. It's the same channel that I wanted to show you guys. And look at this channel all the way down, and then some huge consolidation, and then boom, boom, boom. There was a lot of volume that came in during the pre-market, and look at this price action. So this is the exact thing that I'm expecting in sequel to, kind of consolidation between the channel, and then comes this big spikes in the future. So let's see how this works out. All right, I'll move to the next one, which is PTIX. RSI is oversold, MACD is all in downtrend. And at this point, we do have a double bottom at 1.55, 1.60 zone. So it is trading around that zone at this point. EMA 200 is well near that 186, 190 zone, and that is also the BB pivot. And this is a spiker candidate. So many spikes in the past, and definitely we need to watch out for the breakout over the EMA 200. But the most important thing in the approval news in Q4, forget about all these charts. If we get that news in the month of December, which is supposedly that's the targeted, the revised timeline that they have posted in their latest presentation, especially with their Q1 trial that needs to start, they have to have the IND approval approved in the Q4. And based on the last presentation, the hint was it was filed. So it's a matter of an approval news that should come anytime. And since their end enabling studies are already complete, the news is going to be a big catalyst here. But if I just look at this chart right now, near the double bottom zone, we need to break into that 190-ish and 230 zone, and then we can see how far this can go. But this is a news catalyst in play here. All right, I'm moving to the most important ticker. Of course, my not my number one ticker, but slowly it is getting there. NLSP, the NLS Pharma, another downtrending channel, all the way from this, $4. This has been trading for a long time in this channel. To be honest, we did have the IND approval, we did have the COVID news, all that spiked, but in the end, it gave away all the profits for whatever reason it may be. And then there was this news on the COVID, and then it shoot up to 2.85 $3. Obviously, we locked the profits there, and now back down to the old 170 160 zone, and terribly went down to 130 and even closed in the lows. So we need to keep an eye on this low trending channel. But at the same time, I also noticed, interestingly, you see how the channel, it breaks below the channel, comes back, breaks below the channel, and then there is always a bounce from this zone. So even if this has to bounce from here, this has to go over the pivot, which is what, 1.89, and the top is 2.34. Wow. Even from 1.31 to all the way to $2 is 50%, guys. But then I'm not settling here for pennies for the $2. I'm looking at the Q1 data that is pending for Qlians. And then that is going to be a big catalyst that actually should have, drove up this price factoring in it. But market simply ignored all that catalyst that is coming up in Q1. Probably it's going to do another big spike during the Q1 data release. But then it needs to be factored in. That is my point. This is extremely oversold. RSI is in the 27, below all three MAs, and the 7289 EMA or 180 200 is all around the 180-ish to $2 mark. And the BB pivot is at 1.94 right now. And the top end channel is at 2.37. That is getting wider now, and this is going to be a big potential in favor of the reward here, in my opinion, because of this crazy oversold that has just happened in a matter of days here. Okay, so what are the levels that we need to watch? We need to first consolidate here around the channel, and I believe it's going to happen. Having looked at the history of this chart, it does consolidate a bit around that low zone and then starts to claw its way back up, and again comes down. So this has to be watched. Now, with the Q1 in place, will the reversal for the long term happen? So that is where I'm going to keep an eye on that 194 BB pivot, which is going to be very critical, and over $2. Anywhere it gets to that range and beyond that, I'm not looking at $3 here. I'm looking more than that. So let's keep an eye on this. I'm going to continue to load this NLSP, although it may not be my number one swing, but I've taken a huge position here in the 160s, 140s, and even in 130s. So I'm going to continue to load. With the Q1 data coming up, I'm not worried much, to be honest. Okay, all right. I'll move to my next big one, NVIV. Done a lot of DD on this. I've been sharing it for many weeks right now. And the action that has been happening in the recent past is pretty interesting. Where once the 49 was found as a bottom, look at that spike with a lot of volume to 58, 59 on that day, and tried again the next day at 59. And there was another day where it almost broke that 60, 61, and then comes this, the market pullback. So keep an eye on this. The BB pivot is at 54, the lower is at 49, which has also happened to be the bottom, and then the high is at the 59.60s. So a breakout over 60 is going to be very critical. At the same time, holding on to that 49 and 54 zone is also very critical. But eventually, this company has news to be released in Q4 on the publication of Inspire 1.0 for the 12-month and the 24-month. And then they also have a data next year. So considering all that, the market needs to factor in, and it hasn't factored in yet. So in my opinion, this 49, 54, 61 needs to be watched out, that specific zone. And then let's see how the news comes out in Q4. All right. So that is it for me. These are the 4 important tickers that I've been loaded fully. I've been still loading some of them. And I've already shared on the part one my other tickers as well. But these four stand out for me at this point because of the nature of the price point this year, where it is completely oversold, but then they also have catalysts. So, keeping all that in mind in this market, I don't care what the market is doing, but I do care about this specific swing and the potential it has it. So I'm gonna go for these four stocks and then set my tolerances to let's see how the market behaves this week, and then we'll take it from there. All right. Thank you, folks. You all have a great Sunday. Good night. See you all tomorrow. Bye bye.